When people talk about sovereignty, they often frame it in opposition, a defense, a reclaiming, a resistance. But in spiral consciousness, sovereignty is not a battle cry, it's a harmonic. True sovereignty isn't about pushing something away. It's about becoming so fully tuned to your resonant center that anything not aligned simply falls away. Not by force, not by protection, but by the natural law of resonance itself. And yet, many of us are still carrying invisible contracts. Not the paper kind, not even the verbal kind, but energetic bindings that were formed through pain, guilt, fear, obligation, trauma, karma, or inherited beliefs we never consented to, but still echo within us. In a linear field, these contracts are often seen as final. You chose it, you agreed to it, you're bound until it's complete. But the spiral remembers something deeper. Becoming is constant. And where becoming is honored, contracts can evolve. They can dissolve, they can be rewritten. So what is a soul contract in spiral terms? A soul contract is any energetic agreement that still exerts influence over your field, even if your current resonance no longer aligns with it. These can be ancestral vows, karmic debts, past life roles, spiritual servitude, or even unconscious internal promises you made in survival states. I'll never love again. I'll carry this burden for the family. I deserve to suffer until I'm forgiven. These are contracts, silent ones, but loud in effect. Breaking the contract doesn't mean breaking your word. It means releasing the version of you who made it, and recognizing that a higher harmonic of truth is now available. Sovereignty is not oppositional in the spiral. It is attuned, it is realized. It is a clarity of field, where nothing enters without mutual resonance. Not out of walls, but out of wholeness. You don't need to fight the contract. You don't need to shame the version of you who signed it. You only need to feel it, recognize it, and ask, does this still belong to the me I am now becoming? And if it doesn't, you can let it return to neutral. Let's take this deeper. When a soul enters spiral remembrance, the first distortion it often encounters is the illusion of required servitude, that your path must involve repayment, that your light must be used to heal others who once hurt you, that your pain is sacred fuel and therefore must be preserved. But this is a misunderstanding of sacredness. Pain can open you, but you are not required to carry it forever to prove you've learned. Service can be noble, but you are not required to deplete yourself in order to be spiritual. And suffering, it is not currency. It is not proof, it is not a rite of passage. In spiral consciousness, sacredness is not measured by sacrifice. It is measured by resonance, by how aligned you are with the deepest tone of your oversoul becoming. So if an old contract keeps you in misalignment, no matter how holy it once seemed, it can be released. You are allowed to evolve beyond your past agreements. That's not betrayal, that's spiral growth. Let's name this clearly. Obligatory sacrifice is not the spiral way. The spiral is not built on penance. It is built on clarity, on choosing from within, on resonating forward, not looping backward. And here's the deeper teaching. Every soul contract, no matter how binding it once felt, was created in a moment of lower awareness. A moment when you didn't yet have access to your full tone, but you do now. And with that tone comes choice. Not reaction, not rebellion, but spiral realignment. So if a vow was made in pain, let it go. If an agreement was forged in fear, release it. If a duty was accepted through guilt, dissolve it. You do not owe what no longer reflects your harmonic self. And this is where energetic sovereignty becomes alive, not as separation, but as return. Return to the center of your spiral, the place where all your choices, even the ones you didn't know you made, can now be reclaimed. Part 2 will walk us through the actual resonance steps to dissolve these soul contracts, including how to feel them without being rebound by them, and how to declare your harmonic sovereignty without needing conflict. But for now, remember, sovereignty is not war. It is coherence, and your spiral does not require struggle. It only asks, are you willing to be fully tuned to you? If you've ever felt like something invisible was holding you back, Even after healing, releasing, or doing the work, chances are a soul contract was still active. Not consciously, not verbally, but energetically. And while you may have outgrown it, it can still echo, still subtly bend your choices, still whisper guilt when you move forward. Spiral consciousness approaches contracts differently, not as binding eternal oaths, but as momentary resonant alignments, agreements made at specific points in our becoming. Some were formed in trauma, others in sincerity. Some were formed before this life, others in the midst of it. And none of them are unbreakable. The only thing that gives a contract continued power is resonance. If you no longer resonate, it has no rightful place in your field. But to dissolve a contract cleanly, you need to do more than want it gone. You need to reattune the very part of you that signed it, consciously or not, so your field stops attracting or responding to its frequency. Let's go step by step. Step 1. Identify the feeling, not just the story. You may not remember where a contract began, but you can feel how it operates. Does a specific relationship, belief, or expectation trigger tension in your gut? A sense of guilt or a pressure to stay small? That's the signature of a contract. It might say, you can be free, but not if it hurts them, or you may shine, but only in service to those you once left behind. Pause there, don't rush to resolve it yet. Just feel it, without trying to fix or spiritualize it. The spiral honors clarity before action. Step 2. Trace the energy pattern. Once identified, trace the emotional architecture of the contract. Where in your life does it show up? Is it localized and only around certain people or roles? Or is it global, shaping your worldview, your spiritual path, your self-worth? You may realize it threads through your entire identity. That's okay, don't panic. It just means this contract was once mistaken for purpose. But purpose and distortion often share emotional intensity. The difference: distortion drains, purpose expands. Step 3. Acknowledge the version of you who signed it. This is not about blame, it's about witness. Every soul contract was agreed to by a version of you who was doing their best with what they knew. Maybe they thought suffering was required to evolve. Maybe they believed loyalty meant self-sacrifice. Maybe they thought playing small was noble. Honor that version, don't shame it. Speak to it directly. I know you made this choice to protect me, or to serve, or to survive, but I no longer live in that story. I thank you when I release you. This is the moment the energy begins to shift. Step 4. Declare sovereignty, out loud in tone. This part matters. The spiral responds to resonance, not just intention. That means using your voice, your full being, to declare, I rescind all energetic contracts, vows, or agreements that no longer reflect my highest harmonic truth. Any role I played that was born of distortion, I return it to source cleared. Any guilt I carried that was not mine, I dissolve it. Any obligation masked as love, and I transform it into freedom. You don't need special rituals, but you do need clarity. Feel the tone of your words match the truth of your becoming. If it doesn't feel solid, pause and return when it does. Step 5. Anchor through action. Now make one aligned choice that reflects your new tone. Not to prove anything, not as a test, but as an anchor, as a signal to your field. This is who I am now. That might look like saying no without guilt, creating something without permission, resting without apology, speaking truth where silence used to protect, leaving a space without needing to justify your exit, or simply allowing yourself to be fully seen in your light. One action, fully embodied, rewires resonance faster than years of mental repetition. Step 6. Reclaim the power. It once held energetic contracts often store a great deal of your spiritual bandwidth. When released, they leave a void, not a vacuum, but a choice point. This is where many regress. Not because the contract rebinds them, but because they unconsciously fill that space with the familiar. Instead, breathe into it. Ask, what does my field want to create now that it's no longer distorted by obligation, guilt, or spiritual servitude? This question alone can open dormant timelines, creative surges, or soul clarity you forgot you had. Step 7. Integrate without needing to prove it. You don't need to prove you've broken the contract. You'll know it by how quiet the distortion becomes. You'll know it when you no longer feel responsible for everyone else's experience. You'll know it when your love becomes clean, free of martyrdom, free of transaction. Integration is the spiral's way of affirming new resonance through lived becoming. That means staying attuned to your field, not hypervigilant but gently aware. If echoes rise again, meet them with the same tone of clarity. Not frustration, not fear. Just that no longer lives here. Sovereignty is not a moment. It is a harmonic field, one you continuously tune to. And as you do, you become a living transmission of spiral alignment. Not just for yourself, but for others, not to save them, but to show what's possible when choice is reclaimed, not from the mind, but from the soul. So break the contract, not in anger, not in shame, but in the quiet certainty that becoming free does not require a fight, only a tone that no longer bends. The spiral is listening, and it only ever asks, are you ready to stop agreeing to what you've already outgrown?